Alrighty, welcome back once again to Found Footage Friday. I think I've turned this into a normal thing. I don't know. It just sounds like fun. I'm a big found footage fan, most definitely. But anyway, this movie today is one that I just kind of happened to stumble upon on the internet one day because I was reading. I've always had this kind of fascination with the Jonestown Massacre, and I'll always kind of revisit some of the, I'll revisit some stories and things about it, every now and then, just if I hear something or if somebody's talking about it or whatever. So that may have given away what the movie is already, but today it is going to be 2013's The Sacrament. So this movie, like I said, I just kind of stumbled upon it. Eli Roth is the producer of this movie, so that already kind of piqued my interest because I'm a pretty big Eli Roth fan. He did not direct this movie. This movie is actually directed by Ty West. And if you don't know, Ty West is the guy who did, I originally know him. He did The Second Cabin Fever, which I enjoyed. It was kind of goofy, but I enjoyed it. He did The Innkeepers, which is a great little kind of ghost story. The House of the Devil, which is a really good kind of love letter to kind of 70s satanic panic horror films. Really good movie. We'll definitely talk about that one. And then, of course, more recently, he's done X, Pearl, and Maxine. Those are the three that I know that he's done, the most recent. That's probably what everybody's more familiar with his name, for, is those movies. So if you're a fan of Ty West, absolutely check this one out. And also if you're a fan of found footage. But this movie came out in 2013. And it's basically about this guy. I believe they work for TMZ, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And his sister goes basically has joined this commune, and he's trying to find her. And I think she sends him a letter or something, basically telling him where she is and that she wants him to come visit and stuff. So he comes down there to visit her, I believe in South America, just like where the Jonestown events took place, and finds out that she's living on a commune. And he basically meets up with her. They kind of catch up. He ends up meeting these I cannot remember this guy's name. Gene Jones is his name. He does, and again, this movie is not just a blatant, it's not about Jonestown, but it's as close as they could get to it without actually, using the Jonestown name and everything. And of course, kind of making it. Make it into a film, sensationalizing it, I guess is what you want to say. But it follows the events very closely, and Gene Jones is amazing as the Jim Jones, the father, I believe is what they call him in this movie. But he is excellent in this movie. He's great. He's very intimidating, but very real. And I mean, when he's giving his speech in this film, you really kind of. You could see how people would really kind of could take to him. He's just a really nice older gentleman, very fatherly figure. And of course, if you're familiar with the events of the Jonestown Massacre, you know where this is going to go. But it's great. It's basically. I hate to say this, but it's everything I ever wanted out of a Jonestown film or documentary or anything. It's amazing. I love it. Highly recommend it. All the acting is very well done, especially Gene Jones. I cannot. Which, that's funny, coincidentally, his last name is Jones. That's, Gene Jones, like Jim Jones. I think that's very interesting. But I cannot recommend this enough. The setting is great. They've really gone, to great lengths to kind of reproduce the commune. All of the people in the commune are very believable. I mean, it's very haunting. Like whenever they actually go in and they start talking, talking to all the folks, it's really kind of spooky hearing them talk about it. Kind of talking about the father, and then of course when you hear him talking, Gene Jones, whenever you start to hear him kind of give his speeches and sort of be intimidating to the guys who come and bring the camera crew, because it was just supposed to be the one guy, the brother. It was just supposed to be him, but of course he brings a whole camera crew with him, and that kind of puts them on alert. And then of course things just kind of start spiraling and going downhill, and we lead up to the finale, which the climax of this movie is brutal. Again, like I said, if you're familiar with the Jonestown Massacre, you know what to expect. You know, so I cannot recommend this enough. Like I said, if you're an Eli Roth fan or a Ty West fan, I'm a big fan of Ty West. You know, it's great. And I know I said haunting earlier. I'm going to use that word again in this. I reuse words a lot, I know. But Gene Jones playing the father, he is so spooky and so haunting. Like, I know he uses this one line where they're kind of trying to ask him questions, and they're kind of trying to pry, you know. And even in his interview, you know, he's very good at kind of skirting around the subject, you know, and answering a different question or answering a question with a question. Friggin' amazing. But he has this line in this movie, and it kind of cracks me up when I hear it. He's like, if you put your hand into the dog's bowl, don't be surprised if you get bit, you know. And I mean, it's so eerie whenever you hear him say that. You're like, oh man, you're like, something really bad is going to happen here, you know. And it's great. Like I said, it doesn't follow the events exactly to a T of the Jonestown Massacre, but it gets the gist, you know. And again, this is not, it's very much based on that, but it's very much its own thing, you know what I mean? Don't go into this expecting to hear, you know, be the exact portrayal, and almost like a real kind of mockumentary or whatever you want to call it. But it's a very good found footage movie. And if you're not familiar with the Jonestown Massacre, you know, this is a great way to kind of, you know, if you don't really like documentaries and you'd rather watch a film version of something, I think that this follows it fairly close. Of course, like I said, it is sensationalized, but it follows it pretty close. And like I said, Gene Jones plays the Jim Jones character perfectly. I mean, they literally could not have cast a better. He even looks like him and sounds like him, you know. But he is great. The main actor, the brother in this, his acting is a little shoddy, but he's not terrible. I think he does a great job in this movie. I have no problems with it. Maybe that's just my bias, because I've seen him in other things, and I don't think he's just the best actor. But he does fine in this movie. Everybody in this movie does just fine. I have no problems with it. I will highly, highly recommend this. Like I said, if you love found footage, if you love, you know, not love, I don't want to say that. If you're interested in, you know, if you're fascinated like I am by the Jonestown Massacre and just how these people could have done something like this and been brought to the point and convinced to do the things that they've done, once you watch this movie, it honestly, to me, it made a lot more sense. It really makes the situation make sense. You know, I mean, not perfectly, of course, but it's just, you can kind of get behind it and see kind of how some of them could have been swayed, you know what I mean? Because again, he's very, very convincing. The father character in this movie is. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, so, you know, definitely check it out. Like I said, if you know if you're familiar with the Jonestown Massacre, or even if not, definitely check it out. I'm going to rate it pretty high. It's going to be a 4.5 out of 5, just because like I said, I've always been fascinated by the Jonestown Massacre and the events that kind of led up to that. And I think that this is the perfect portrayal of that on film. I can't think of a better one off the top of my head. But I think it's great just because of the acting, the choice of actors, the location is great. Everything's amazing. The plot is great, you know, and of course it's not just a perfect, you know, like I said, this is not the end all of horror movies and found footage, but it's a damn good one. I would never usually rate a found footage movie that high, except for, I'll rate another one that I'm going to talk about soon pretty highly, because it's very good too. But yeah, definitely check this one out. 4 out of 5. That is The Sacrament, produced by Eli Roth and directed by Ty West from 2013. Stay tuned for the next video, and I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.